So the catalytic converters got stolen off of this Prius. It's a second gen one, and I replaced them with aftermarket ones, and then even the aftermarket ones, somebody tried to steal them, and I didn't put any guards on them or anything because the aftermarket ones aren't worth any money, so I didn't think anybody would try to steal them. But what happened was somebody made the one cut up front, and then that was it. So they probably made the one cut, went back, realized that they weren't the Toyota brand cats, and then just left it like that. But it was still really annoying because I had to go weld it and everything. Made a bunch of noise, and I rent this car out, so it cost me money. But what I didn't realize before is I had one of the cat shields that covers up, one of those things right there, and it covers up the whole bottom part of it. But this one was actually stolen with that shield on it, and I couldn't figure out how they cut it back there until I saw someone else's video. It was a muffler shop in Sacramento. Try to leave a link for his channel or videos if I can find it again. But what I realized was that they can reach up front through here to cut it. So really that shield isn't going to do much if they know what they're doing, because they can reach up front and cut it, and then they can reach right behind the shield in the back and cut it. So the shield really doesn't protect that much. So what I realized from watching this guy's videos from Sacramento is they make extra guards. This is the one that comes up front. This is the one that goes in the back. These are some ones I bought off eBay. It was $70 just for these. I'll leave a link for the cheap eBay ones, and I'll leave a link for the name brand too. I don't think these are the name brand ones. I'll have to check. But the name brand ones are going to be better and more expensive. You can see on this shield, like the word shield is spelled wrong, which doesn't really matter. But I think that the name brand ones, they're going to have, these only have like 4 pop rivets on the side with 4 holes. I think the name brand ones have 8. The metal might be thicker. They probably come with bigger, beefier pop rivets, but I'm not sure. But so I ordered these, and this one goes in the front, so they can't cut it from the front. And this one goes on the back like this to help cover up the back and make it more secure. And I'm going to show you how to install it. You're probably going to want to install this before that. You can install this after. I did it on my other one that the shield was already installed on. And the way I did it was I took that wheel off and reached all the way in there to get these 2 bolts on. But it was a pain. But if you have long, skinny arms, though, the longer and skinnier your arms are, the easier it's going to be. So what you do is take this, and you want to get your car jacked up as high as possible. And you're going to want to jack up all 4 wheels like I did. The jack stands, the higher you get it, the easier it's going to be. It's pretty difficult even with it raised like all the way up in jack stands. The Priuses are already so low. So there's these 2 bolts right here. You're going to take those out. You probably want to put a jack. It is an engine mount, so I put a jack and just supported the end of the transmission here just to be safe. And you're going to take these out. It comes with longer bolts. And this thing goes up in here like this. And it blocks that so they can't get in that way. I've got the engine supported there. Took those 2 bolts out. They're 14mm, and you don't need to hold a nut on the top with a separate wrench. The nuts are like just built into whatever's up there. And then it comes, this ones I got, they come with these bolts that are slightly longer, and it comes with a bigger washer than are on the factory ones. So you put the washer on first, and then you bolt them in like normal, and then it comes with a lock washer that you put on first, and a nut that goes over this thing. You're going to put both of those on. And this thing goes facing this direction, so you cannot reach the bolts from this end. You're going to either have to go from the front, or you can get in from the side this way with the wheel off like I was talking about. So I was able to get the bolts on from this angle, not from the side. kind of a pain. You have to do it all by feel, and you need the right like length or extension. Like this seemed to be good, or probably like a tiny bit longer would have been better, but I used a little 1/4 inch with an adapter to 3/8, and they're 17 millimeter. You kind of gotta find the right height. So this piece goes like this, and you can install it with this big shield already installed in the car, but especially if you don't have a lift, it's going to be easier to do it off the car. So you have to make sure this is lined up right when you install it. So what I did was just put one of the bolts down on the end, and then what you can do is put this on the bottom.
Okay, I'm like, am I fucking tripping or not?
Like this, and then you take a Sharpie, poke it through all 4 holes, so you know where to drill the holes on this, and then you can take it off, drill the holes, and put this thing on, and you know that it'll line up right, and this will fit around the cat there. And here's what that other guard looks like from the front. Really no way to get like a Sawzall angle grinder around to the cat. You can't even see it. So here's what it looks like installed, and then it came with pop rivets too. My pop rivet gun broke, and if you get a loose pop rivet rattling around, you just put a piece of Gorilla Tape over it. But I found, especially when you're working under the car on a jack stand, it's pretty hard to use a pop riveter, and it's a real bitch to drill these too. I thought when you're drilling the holes, you get like a 5-pack of drill bits, but I actually found it kind of easier to start with a real small drill bit. Use these self-tapping screws, and then what you can do after you put the screws in is take an angle grinder and then grind the screw heads down so they can't be removed easily, and then it's just as good as a popper. But really, I just use this angle grinder here with this 60 grit flappy disc on it, grinds it down in about 2 seconds. And here's the size screws that I'm using. Bought them at Home Depot. Probably leave a link for them too. And they look like this, the self-tapping ones. And the end of it actually drills through the metal itself. I started with a drill bit before using them, but yeah, working underneath the car, it's a real pain to drill out the holes and to use the pop rivet, so I think it's a lot easier just to use those self-tapping screws, and then you don't wear out your drill bits as much either. And then the other thing I recommend doing is installing a tilt sensor on the car. I have another video showing how to do an install with that, and what it does is it sets off a car alarm when somebody jacks up your car. And if you have something really high like an SUV where they don't have to jack it up to steal the catalytic converter, it's not going to do anything. But the Priuses are so low, they have to jack them up into the air in order to steal the cat. So if your car already has like the alarm set up on it to where when it's locked and the door gets opened, it sets the alarm off, you can just install a $40 tilt sensor that'll set the alarm off. It seems like not all the Priuses, at least the 2nd gen ones though, have the alarm on it like that already. So if it doesn't, you'll have to get like an alarm installed with the tilt sensor. But if you have the tilt sensor installed with that big skid plate thing and the 2 other pieces, I think it'd be very unlikely that your catalytic converter would get stolen with all that stuff on it.